Are you looking for beginner-friendly Valentine projects to make with your Cricut? Well, stay tuned. I'm going to show you guys 3 Valentine projects that you guys could make for any adult in your life. Hi, I'm Crystal. Welcome to Design Bundle's YouTube channel. If you guys are new here, please hit the subscribe button as well as that notification bell so you guys don't miss any of our crafting tutorials. For our first project, we are going to be customizing a coffee cup. Now, I'm not using any old plain white coffee cup today. I'm actually using this really pretty clear one that I found at the Dollar Tree. I love the way that it's shaped. I really love the Dollar Tree when it comes to choosing cups. There's just so many different ones to choose from, and they're constantly switching them out. As well as even say Walmart. Usually you can go down there and find things for like 98 cents compared to $1.25. So definitely check all over. Sometimes even TJ Maxx, check the clearance areas, you name it. There's so many different places, even IKEA. I don't know if you guys have checked IKEA for like their coffee cups. Really good stuff. So we're gonna be using this clear one today. You could definitely use whatever coffee cup you would like, but this will be perfect to fill up with some candies and give out to somebody, whether it's at the office, just a special someone in your life. So I'm using this one today. And then I've got a few different colors of adhesive vinyl here from some different tones of pink, white, red, and we'll figure out that along the way. I've got a squeegee as well as a clean cloth to remove any sort of lint and debris. And we're gonna be using some really big bundles today. So I wanted to show you guys that we have these ginormous bundles that are just loaded with designs. And so we're gonna be using this one today, and then we're also gonna be using this one. I know, look at this thing. It is massive, and you guys can go through here. The designs are just on and on and on. So there's just so many to choose from. So I thought it would be perfect for us today. And so we're gonna pick one of those for our coffee cup. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick one of these, and then we're gonna head on over to Cricut Design Space. All right, so for our first project, we're gonna use this design right here, Be Mine. So I went back and snagged a yellow and a black to go along with this. So I'm gonna go ahead and download this design, and we're gonna head over to Cricut Design Space. Now that I'm over in my purchases, I'm gonna find that bundle right here. I'm just gonna click on Download Files, click on that zip folder, and it's gonna add them over to my desktop. So I'm gonna go find that design, and I'll meet you over in Cricut Design Space. So now that we're over here in Cricut Design Space, let's upload that design. So we're gonna simply click on Upload. We're gonna click on Upload an Image, and then we're just gonna come right over here to Browse, and we're gonna find our design. So what you're gonna do is just go to Downloads, find that folder. Like for example, today, this is the first one I'm downloading. So there you have it. Now this is a huge bundle. So as you guys can see, we have bundle part 1 and 2. So I'll just kind of dig through here till I find them. So I'm gonna start out with part 1, and what you're looking for is the SVG versions. All right, so I found it right here. So we're just simply gonna click on it, and then we're gonna click on Open. So from here, you can see that it's all ready to go. We could go in here, and I'm actually gonna rename this guy here. We're gonna put Be Mine. Here we go. And then I'm gonna put something like V-Day, just so I can find it. You can put Valentines, maybe do a comma, and I'm gonna go ahead and do mug, because I know this is gonna be a mug design for me. And then I'm gonna click on Upload. All right, so now we're ready. We're gonna go ahead and click on that design, and then we're gonna go ahead and hit Add to Canvas. And we're ready to make our first project. So you're gonna see this guy come in a few different pieces here, so we could definitely go in here and adjust these, change them to different pieces, but I'm not gonna do that today. I'm gonna go in and make sure I attach each of those together and make them a little bit smaller. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna go up here to Ungroup, so I can ungroup all of those pieces, and then I'm simply just gonna grab like all of my yellow pieces together, so I'll do that now. And you can see that they're already kind of attached in a sense, but I'm gonna go ahead and select the other yellow pieces as well. And I am gonna go ahead and I'm gonna click Weld. That way those pieces are all together. Now you're gonna notice that the base popped in the background, but I can definitely bring that back up here. If I bring it, see how I grab that? Actually bring that back above here. I could actually move that there. You're gonna see that face come back in. You can just kind of swoop those around. Whenever you weld something, it'll pop whatever's in front kind of in the back. You can still bring that forward, so don't think that it's went away if you guys are new. So I'm gonna go and do the exact same thing. I'm gonna select all of those black pieces there as well as the body, and then I'm also gonna go ahead and click Weld. So they're just one file. Now, say I get over here in a minute and I actually need to put the face on separate, I could cut those out. I just want them to cut together. That way it's not wasting so much material. Or I'm gonna do the same thing for the pink layers, which is the heart and mine. I'm gonna go ahead and hit combine, weld, and then same thing for B. That's just personally what I like to do whenever I first get my files, if I'm not gonna individually be making those letters different colors, because you definitely could do so. And then what you can do is actually go up here to save, and then we can save that as the mine. We could create a new collection and say this is going to be our mug collection, and we could save it right in there. That way the next time I come back in here for this design, I don't have to do that again. So if this is the way I like my designs, I just do it right out the gate. That's just the way I do it. All right, so this guy is completely ready in the sense of those individual layers. So what I'm gonna do now is select everything, and now we're gonna get ready to size it. So I'm gonna take my mug here along with my measuring tape and figure out about how wide I wanna go. So maybe around 3.5 inches. And I don't really want to go more than about 2.5 high. So let's go and start with that now so that I have everything selected. Let's start with that height. We're going to go ahead and put 2.5 high, enter, and that's going to give us 3.9 wide. So let's go ahead and double check ourselves with that 4 inches. Perfect. Looks great to me. We are ready to go. So all we simply have to do from here is go over here to make it, and we're gonna go ahead and tell it that we are cutting on the mat, and we're gonna hit confirm. Now, today I'm gonna show you guys a little bit of a hack. So you guys can see here we have 1, 2, 3, and 4 mats that we would have to load, all those different pieces. So before we actually start loading anything, we're gonna look at these, we're gonna size them down, then we're gonna go back. I'm gonna make them all one color, and we're gonna load them all on one mat. All right, so here we go. So I like to keep them separate first so I can visually see what I got going on. So I know that we've got a black, we're gonna figure out here my pink. I think I'm probably gonna do this pink right here. And then we've got our yellow layer as well as our red layer here, which I could have done 2 different pinks. I'm gonna go ahead and stick with the red. I was trying to decide between the 2 pink layers, but I think I'm gonna go ahead and stick with the red, kind of like they have it here. So now that we have our colors ready to go, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go from mat to mat, and if you just kind of bring in your mat, you can see here. So I need to cut this one down to like a 2x2, so we're gonna go ahead and start with that first. Go in here, cut this one to a 2x2 squared. Perfect, this guy is ready. We'll get our scraps out of the way. And then we're gonna move on to our pink one. So I'm gonna go ahead and select the pink layer here. And so what I'm gonna do, same thing, it's gonna be 2x4. So always start with that lower number first. So we're gonna go 2, that way you don't waste material. And we're gonna get that guy out of our way. And then we are gonna do the 4, perfect. Get our scrap out of the way, and then our yellow layer, we're gonna select that now. And this one is going to be a 2x2. So we're gonna go in here, get a 2x2. Perfect. And then now let's go into that red layer. So for our red layer, we've got a 2, I think that's about a 2x3 is what we've got there. So same as always, start with that lower number. We're gonna get that 2. All right. And then we're gonna get our 3. Perfect, so we're gonna go ahead and get these guys out of the way. So when it comes to this hack, a few things you could actually do is you could start out with your first mat here, go to your next one, click the 3 dots, move object, and then say what mat. So say we were piling all over here on the black, then we can move it over to a corner. So you just want to put them all in different corners. If you have more than that, just look at it and say, okay, I'm gonna line this one under the 5, between the 5 and the 6, or whatever it may be, and you can continue to add more and more and more. Now, that's a little bit more time consuming than just hitting cancel, because we already know the sizes, they're not gonna change. We could go over here, we could select everything, and then we're gonna come up here to that color, and we're gonna change it all to the same color. Now, when we go back to make it, we're gonna say on the mat, continue, and now you can see all of those pieces, okay? So this right here is going to be our yellow pieces. So we're gonna drop that down over here. Now, if, say for example, this is just a 2x2 square, easy, right? So we know that it's gonna go 2x2. So be careful when we go to move one. So say for example, let's do the mine. We're gonna move it down here, that I don't accidentally load it in this direction. So make sure you're paying attention to that, because that's just not an even square, if you will. It's more of a rectangle. So then we're gonna move our B up and over in this corner. We're gonna get that guy right there. All right, and then this was our black layer, so we're gonna get that up in that corner. And now I don't have to sit here and load one and wait for it to come out, load another one. They're all gonna cut at the same time. So easy, all right? So now we're gonna hit continue. For our material, I'm gonna choose Premium Vinyl Permanent Glossy. Now, if you guys have been following me for a while, you guys know I'm actually using matte. It's my favorite one to use, but I always choose glossy. Just works for me. And so whatever works best for you, if it works best to choose a matte or a removable or something, use whatever works best for you. All right, so we're ready to go. Now we're just simply gonna load it, and that way we could get all of these at one time. It's gonna save us a ton of time. All right, so where this guy is gonna go ahead and load it in for us, and we're gonna get ready to hit go. All right, so we're getting our flashing. We're gonna hit go now. One thing I forgot to mention was the transfer tape. So you're gonna need transfer tape as well as your squeegee to apply it on our cup. Another little tip here is if you guys are just starting out, grab yourself some contact paper from the Dollar Tree. It's over there where the houseware stuff is, the kitchen stuff. And what it actually is that liner that you put in your drawers. You wanna stick with the clear one, and it's going to work perfectly for you, and you're gonna get it for $1.25. So I highly recommend that, and it will last you a very long time. And remember, whenever it comes to transfer tape, you can reuse it over and over again until you definitely can't. I like to purchase mine in rolls like this, because whenever I cut off the excess, I can roll it right back on here. So it just kind of makes it a little bit more easy for me. So we'll go ahead and set that out of the way, and I think we're done. So we're ready. So we're gonna get ready to weed this. We're gonna unload it. And the way that I like to get these off the mat is flip it over and peel. This is going to avoid these, I'm trying to think of the word, like twisting on you or kind of bending up and stuff like that. Now they are kind of smaller, so you really don't have to worry about that too much. I'm gonna set this guy out of the way, and let's get ready to weed it. We're gonna take our weeding tool here. So we are going to go ahead and weed out all of our pieces. Now, if you guys ever notice, like with smaller pieces like this, it is so much easier to weed because you're not messing with one big old piece. So I really like projects like this. So we're gonna go ahead and get into our black layer here. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and weed out his body pieces, but when it comes to his eyes and his mouth, because they're so teensy tiny, I'm actually gonna do a reverse weed, and I'll show you guys what that is. So I'm just gonna go ahead and continue to go in here. Sometimes I have to get the light and kind of tilt this just a little bit so I can actually see what I've got going on here. So I'm just gonna get this guy out of here. Just like that, just being real careful. Anytime I'm working with small, intricate pieces like this, I really like to be super careful. So you guys can really see how intricate those wings are. So like I said, I'm gonna show you guys a reverse weed on his face, just to show you how easy it will be to keep those eyes. All right, so we've got that. We've got our bee, and now we're gonna go ahead and go in here and get our mine. Just give us a corner here and weed. Now you guys let me know down below, are you guys new to Cricut? Did you just recently get one? Is this your first time making Valentine projects? If it's definitely not, and you guys annually make stuff, you know, say for example, you're a teacher, you make stuff for the classroom for the kiddos, or maybe you make your husband maybe you make him a t-shirt every year, you make mom, you know, some little paper flowers. Let me know, what do you guys like to make for your Valentine projects? All right, so we've got one last piece here. I'm gonna peel our yellow. Now, if you guys are new to Cricut, you guys let me know if you guys are learning any tips and tricks along the way. So we are going to get this piece to stay down. There we have it. I think I have everything, making sure. Now, another little tip is, if you're not too sure about your pieces, instead of crumbling them up right away like this, I kind of stick them on the side of my table until I know for sure I have everything, and then I'll throw them away later. That way I'm not having to dig back through the trash, unwind it, and pull a little bitty piece out. All right, so we are ready to piece this guy together. So one thing that you can actually do is you can go back, look at the design, and so say for example, it is B, mine like this. And then we're gonna have his little body with its little face like that. So we could definitely pick these up together and then transfer them at one time on the cup, or we could definitely do them one at a time. Today I'm gonna show you guys piecing those together so it's one solid design. All right, so since I'm going to be piecing this together and these are small pieces, so my transfer tape could get on the table, I just got a piece of parchment underneath me because it will not stick to this. And so I like to do that as well as I'm working. All right, so let's go ahead and get us a piece of this transfer tape. Just trim it like so. And then I will take a piece about like this and have it ready to go. And then I'm gonna take that excess, like I was telling you before, and then just wrap it right back on here for a later project. All right, so what we're gonna do first is I'm actually gonna go ahead and pick up our bee because we're gonna do that reverse weeding. So I'm gonna be careful, try to get him all the way up and over here so I can make sure he's gonna fit on everything. We're gonna take our squeegee, rub this guy down, and really rub in his face so I can make sure I get his eyes and his mouth going there as well as those little bitty wings. Flip it over. You're going to remove the backing, and now we're going to reverse weed. So I'm going to go in here with his little face. I'm going to go ahead and grab a spot where I don't have the eyes and the mouth. All right, so once you got it going on, so I'm going to be very careful, try not to get his eye picked up there. Perfect. I'm going to go ahead and peel that off. I can see that the mouth is still wanting to go with me, so I'm going to go back and be real careful, push his mouth down, and weed it out. Perfect. So I was able to get that. Let's see if you guys can see his little bitty, so you guys can see those teensy tiny eyes and mouth. It just kind of helps you preserve those, so that way you're not weeding them out. So now that was a little bit more tedious than it normally is, so I probably needed to kind of rub just a little bit harder there. All right, so we are good. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go in for that yellow body. So I'm just gonna hover above this. And if you need to, you can put the parchment paper in between so you don't accidentally, you know, lay it on an area that you don't need to. But I'm just gonna be nice and easy and try to pick it up like so. There we have it. Pick it up. How cute is this little bitty bee? It's adorable. We're gonna flip it over. I'm gonna show you guys how stinking cute that bee is. How cute is that? Anybody ever watched the Bee Movie? I was obsessed. Love it. We tried to watch it the other day, but I never ended up watching it. We got busy doing stuff, but I need to put it back on. But you guys raise your hand down below. Let me know if that was one of your favorite movies. The way that they have this is like the stinger is like, it wrote the mind. So the stinger is like finishing up the E, that little point of the E, if you will. So see where I'm kneading this, so see how that B would have gotten on my table? It's landing on that. So we're gonna go ahead and rub down mine, flip it over, and peel. And now we're gonna come in here and we are gonna go ahead and pick up the B. Here we go, perfect, looks great. Same thing, I'm gonna go ahead and rub down the word B, flip it over, and we are ready. So we have our very own decal. This is how you could create stickers that would go on your car. You could create these stickers for laptops, cell phone cases. It's the exact same thing. And so all you would do is put this on a backing, trim it apart, and you'd be good to go. You're ready to sell this thing or gift it to someone. So I'm gonna bring that up so you guys can see that adorable design, so cute. So we are ready. Now this is a little bit of a different surface, so I'm gonna have to hold this still a little bit. I'm gonna try to hold this. Normally I kind of prop it up on my little squeegees here, but it's not really working for me. Now I did see if I used 2 of these, if you guys actually set this piece on the very bottom, like the base of this, hopefully you guys can see that. You can actually tilt it towards you. Get it a little bit further and it won't come back. You can actually tilt it to you, but I wanna make sure that you guys can see everything. So at this point, I'm gonna go ahead and clean this, just making sure it's nice and clean and ready to go. And we are just gonna line this up, just like that. I'm gonna very slowly and very carefully get one side down, and then slowly pull and get the other side. So when you're working with more of a round piece like this, you just wanna be nice and slow. You can always get slits in your transfer tape to kind of help you, but if you just kind of really take your time and slow down, you're gonna be good to go. Now, before I just really scrub this or anything with the squeegee, I actually kind of just work by hand at first, and then I'll peel it off and then I can kind of go back. So nice and easy, I'm gonna be real slow. Because if you go in with your squeegee and say, for example, something has buckled, you're gonna really pinch that. So if you take your time, now I can go back, get out any sort of buckles. And if I needed to, I would be able to get my squeegee, pull that up, move it back down. Whereas if you just go to town really rubbing on that, it may not work out for you. Now, if it's nice and smooth, at that point you could just go in with your squeegee. So this time, since we've already done that, I'm just gonna go ahead and go in with my fingers, and I'm just going to press, press, press. And there you guys have it. How adorable is that? I love this cup so much, and those colors came out adorable. I think it is so stinking cute, and it's perfect on this clear cup, and it's from the Dollar Tree. So for $1.25, we've just customized an adorable cup to gift to anybody for this Valentine season. Once again, fill it with some Hershey Kisses or some hard candies, whatever's their favorite. Maybe they get like Reese's cups or whatever. And then you could add some plastic on top if you wanted to. You could add one of those foam balls and then maybe put some flowers in here, but I really love it. I think it is so, so cute. So you guys let me know in the comments below if you guys will be recreating this project. We are ready for project number 2. So for project number 2, we're gonna make this really fun wine tote bag. I grabbed these on Amazon. You can get several of them at the same time, or you could grab these locally. Hobby Lobby, Michael's, Joann's, usually for about $1, $1.49, and possibly even at the Dollar Tree. So I've got this one here. It's just this little canvas bag, and we are going to customize it. But what I love about these is you could put somebody's favorite wine or beverage, but also my daughter loves these sparkling grape wine, and so it's a great thing too to give to anybody that's non-alcoholic as well. So alcohol, I don't know how you would say that. Anyways, for this one, we're gonna be using the other bundle. So we're gonna use that second one. So you come over here, you're gonna find your bundle. Now this one's a little bit different, and that's why I wanna show you. So I hit download files, and it's not just one zip. So the way that this one is so you can individual, because you may not want all, 100, 200 files at one time. You could go by each page will say what it is. So the one that I picked was the love. So it's the love zip. So at the very bottom of that page, during those designs when I was showing them to you, it said love. So if we click on that now, we are ready to go back over to Cricut Design Space. For our next project, we are using HTV. So the last project we used adhesive vinyl. Now we're using HTV, so you're gonna need a heat press of some sort or a home iron for this project. I'm gonna be using the Cricut Easy Press 3, and I've got some black Siser that's just on a roll here, and then I've got a couple different reds I wanted to show you. So I have this red glitter, and it looks like this. It is gorgeous. So this is Siser glitter. It is much thicker, and you're gonna have texture, but Siser also has this sparkle here, so hopefully you can see that. Now the red is muted down just a little bit there. You can definitely see the difference. This one is called Tomato, but this is Siser Sparkle. So if you guys are not new here, you guys know I talk about this stuff all the time, and I love it. So the way that this works is it has the exact same cut settings as Everyday Iron-On. So it's just basically the same thing as Siser Easy Weed, but it has glitter, but there's no texture. It's just in the design, basically. Instead of it being a solid red, it's a glitter design. It's gorgeous. I love it. So easy to work with. I can use the same heat settings and all those different things, or you can have something a little bit thicker. I was trying to decide. I think I'm going to go ahead and go with this one here. That way I can just have both of these at the same temp. And so I'm gonna work with those. So we are now ready to size this out. Here's our design here. Now this one in particular, you can see it's just 2 layers. So we have our black layer and then our heart. Nothing we need to do. This is the way I love to have my files ready to go. And so now let's go ahead and size this out. Now when you're working with a wine bag, you wanna be particular about the bottom. So you can see that there, because when you go to set this down, you're gonna lose this area here. So I wanna measure from like here to here. So we are gonna go ahead and do that now. So I'm gonna grab our handy dandy tape measure here. I'm gonna do something nice and big. So I'm gonna try to go about 7 inches. So let's go over here to our width, and we are gonna change that to 7, enter, and that is gonna give us 3.4. Almost 3.5, looks perfect to me, love it. So now we're ready to make it. So we're gonna click make it, and then we are gonna go ahead and choose on the mat, confirm. Now I'm gonna do the exact same thing I was talking about last time. That way I'm not having to load 2 mats. I'm gonna go ahead and move this guy over. We're gonna move object to this one, confirm, and I'm gonna put it at the very bottom here. And now we are working with HTV. So when you're working with iron-on or HTV, heat transfer vinyl, you need to make sure and turn your mirror on. So we wanna cut these in reverse. Now you may notice, and pay attention to it right away, is that this may may move over, and so I'm gonna scoot it back. So anything that you kind of bring into another mat, it may move around on you, so make sure that you check that out before you just completely click to the next page. So these guys are reversed, but before I completely take off, let's see how big we need to cut these. So for this one, we've got 1, 2, 3, I'm gonna do 4 by 1, 2, 3, 4. I could probably get away with like 3.5 by 3.5, but I'm just gonna do a 4 by 4. So let's go ahead and cut that one down, and then we're gonna get ready to size that black one. All right, so that first one here, I said we are gonna do a 4 by 4. So we're gonna go ahead and cut that down there, get it over, and it was perfect. It was already at a 4 by 4. So this guy is ready to go. And so when it comes to that black one, we've got 4 by 8. So that one's a little bit easier. When you're up here at the top, you can really see those numbers. So 4 by 8. So what we're gonna do is we're going to obviously do the shorter number first because these are already 12 inches wide. So we're gonna do 4. All right, get that. Put my little bitty piece of tape back. Get that guy up and out of the way. And then we're gonna trim it by 8. So we are gonna go ahead and get that there. Perfect, we're ready. So let's go ahead and get ready to load them on the mat. I'm gonna be using the blue mat today. So when it comes to your HTV iron-on projects, you can use your blue mat or your green mat. And so we're gonna load the black up at the top. So if you're new, you're definitely gonna wanna load that glossy side, but keep in mind, so say for example, if you're using puff HTV, you actually need to load the matte side down. So always make sure what kind of material you are using. But when it comes to just basic everyday iron-on, glitter iron-on, things like that, it's the glossy side down. We're gonna get that one in the bottom corner. So now let's choose our material. So we're gonna go ahead and hit continue. Now all we have to choose is the everyday iron-on, because remember with this glitter here, it's the exact same thing as Siser Easy Weed, and you can cut those on everyday iron-on. So I'm able to cut these guys out together. So if I was actually using the glitter, the thicker one, I couldn't cut these together. So that's just why I love the Siser Sparkle. Now keep in mind there is Twinkle as well, so don't get that confused. There is a Siser Twinkle, and it's much thicker, and the way that I describe that feeling on that is a raincoat. So you know that little rubber or rubber boots, that's how that feels. And that'd be perfect to pop off like a 3-dimensional, like a hat, or you know, to customize some sort of like jacket or something like that. All right, so here we go. We're gonna go ahead and hit go. We're gonna let that cut out. So we're gonna go ahead and prep this guy while we wait. Now I don't need a pressing pillow for this because this is actually really flat. This is made super flat, but I am gonna go ahead and scoot this guy to get the bottom off, just to keep it nice and smooth. So what we're gonna do, I've already got this 320 for 30 seconds, and if you guys are new for your Cricut, you could definitely download the Cricut heat guide. It's a heat app, if you will, and you can actually send settings straight here, but it'll tell you the exact time and temp you're going to need. But you can also head over to Cricut. I'll try to link it down below, and they actually have a heat guide for you, especially if you guys have the older Cricuts, and it will tell you the same. It'll let you choose your material, what mat you're using and all that, and what heat press, and that way you can get those exact settings. So before I unload that, let's go ahead and press this. So I'm gonna pre-press here just for around 5 seconds or so. This is just gonna pull out any sort of moisture and just smooth everything down. So that guy's ready. We're gonna go back over here. We are going to unload these guys, just like that. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and weed these. So while I weed these, I'm gonna go ahead and do a little Q&A with you guys. When you guys first started out, so say for example, you guys are not new, you guys are just here for some inspiration for some projects. Did you guys know that iron-on and HTV heat transfer vinyl was the same thing? And if you guys are new, did you guys know that they are the exact same thing? All right, so we're gonna get ready to weed the second one. So make sure you guys comment that down below. Now for the next one here, when it comes to layering HTV, how many seconds should you do for a tack down? So I'm gonna go ahead and keep weeding this. In the meantime, you guys comment down below, how many seconds are you supposed to do in between the tack down? Now, if you guys are new here, did you guys know that you should just do a tack down, or did you think that you should do the full time each layer? Right, so I've got one more little piece here. We are gonna be ready to go. All right, perfect. So keep on guessing down below, and then I'm fixing to tell you guys, obviously, because we're gonna be ready. All right, so we've got it. We're gonna go ahead and get ready. So we are going to be putting our red layer last. We're gonna get this black one first. I'm gonna go ahead and get this guy over here, get this back down here at the bottom. All right, so we are ready. So we're gonna go ahead and take that love first. We're gonna go ahead and get this guy down just like so. And here goes the tack down. So if you guys guessed 2 seconds, you are correct. Now that is for Siser Easy Weed. If you guys guessed around 3 to 5 seconds, that is what I actually use for Cricut. So I have learned with Cricut Iron on that it definitely does take a few more seconds. And so the next question I'm gonna ask you guys is, when it comes to Siser Easy Weed, is it a hot or is it a cold pill? Comment down below and let me know. So this is gonna help us know your knowledge. Definitely if you guys are starting out too, it's just a little quiz. I thought it would be fun. So let me know down below. And I almost tacked that down too much. Now one thing, you see where I lifted up? One thing you want to be careful for, see how it lifted this thing up? This is what I do. This is a tip. I love when stuff like this happens because it helps. Get your tool, unless it falls off on its own, and get the back side, not the scratchy side. Get the back side and just shove it off. Don't try to grab that with your hands, obviously. But the way to avoid that is to slide your heat press this way instead of lifting up. Just slide it this way or use a piece of parchment paper in between and that will stop that as well. Now, we want to keep this piece because we want to protect everything whenever we go to press again. So remember, we've only done a tack down, so this is not fully committed. And obviously, as you can see, if you commented hot pill, you are correct. So Siser Easy Weed is a hot pill. You can feel it hot, warm. And Cricut, a lot of the times I have found that you really need to let it completely cool down. So if you're ever struggling and your HTV is trying to come up with you, you don't need to add more heat. You probably just need to let it completely cool down. You could use cooling stones, flip it over on your granite countertop to speed those things up. All right, so here we go. We're layering in. There we go. We're gonna get that heart in there. And now we're gonna take this piece, or you can take a piece of parchment. You just wanna cover the rest of that up because you wanna make sure and protect that from your heat platen. So here we go. So we are gonna go ahead, get this guy back on top. Now, this is the thing. You could definitely just do a 2-second tack down again, pick that up, and then do parchment, but we're just gonna do the full 30 seconds this time. So whenever you're on the very last layer, so say for example, I was doing 5 layers, the very last layer is where we are going to do the full time. So like this one's 30 seconds, we're gonna do the whole thing. Now, the reason why you do a tack down like that 2-second, that's going to prevent shrinking. So if you ever notice that you're layering a design and it's not lining up anymore, it's because you have shrunk your HTV. So you may have heated it too much before that next layer, and that's why you're seeing that shrinking and those gaps. All right, so here we go. It's a hot pill on both of these. We're gonna remove both layers at one time and get that out of our way. And there we have it. How stinking cute is this? Adorable. You guys can see that glitter, and it is one solid piece. So there we go. So cute. It's gonna be perfect, and you guys are gonna be able to see that the bottom here, I don't have a wine bottle to put in here, but that where the wine bottle is going to set, it's not going to come into my design. So if I came down here, once I set it, you're not gonna see it. Some of that's gonna go underneath or get kind of folded up or whatever it may be, but it is so cute. This is the perfect wine bag. I honestly even wanna carry this to the grocery store just to put some stuff in. That is so stinking cute. Even for the kiddos, this would be so cute to even fill up with candies, maybe roll up a coloring book with crayons and markers. You could definitely do that as well. Fill it with some roses to give to your loved one. It would just be absolutely adorable. Love this. You guys let me know in the comments below if you guys are going to be recreating project number 2. Project number 3, we're going to personalize a t-shirt. So we're gonna add this design right here. I think it's so cute. It's got a mixture between a knockout design and a nice bold one. So for the 2 colors here, I've got this bubblegum pink. This is Siser. It is just a solid color here. And then I've got that same Siser sparkle in that tomato red, which has that really pretty glitter. So we're gonna be doing this one here. So all we simply have to do is go ahead and get ready to size this out. All right, so we've got our t-shirt here. This is a small, so I'm just gonna go ahead and measure out here. I think 9 inches wide is gonna be good enough for this. So we're gonna go ahead and go over here to our width. We're gonna change it to 9 inches, enter, and we are ready to go. So that's gonna give us about 6, just a little bit over 6 high. I think it's good to go. So now we're ready. We're gonna go ahead and hit make it. From here, we're gonna go ahead and choose on the mat and confirm. I'm gonna do the same thing that I did before, and I'm gonna combine these two together just to make it a whole lot faster. So let's go ahead and mirror both of these first, just to accomplish that. So you could do that and get that out of the way right away, double checking myself. And then I'm gonna go ahead and click the three dots, move object, and we're gonna move it to the first one, confirm. And we are just simply gonna go ahead and move these down. It doesn't matter which one's top, which one's bottom. I'm gonna go ahead and do 6 inches by about 10 inches. And then same for this one, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's gonna be 12 by 12 basically pushed together. So we've got 6 by 6 by 10. So I know both of those. All right, so let's go ahead and get our paper trimmer and get ready to cut them down. All right, so I'm gonna load our first color here, and I'm gonna get it to that 6 inches and carefully just trim that away. All right, so this one's actually a little bit shorter. It's about 9.5, but it's gonna fit on here perfectly. So we're gonna stick with that. And then we're gonna go into our red layer and we're gonna do the same thing. So we need to cut this guy down to the 6 inches, just like so. I'm actually gonna move it up to about 5.75 just to make sure these are gonna fit on the mat good. And then I'm gonna go ahead and trim it to the 10 inches. All right, and there we go. So I'm gonna get these scraps out of the way and we're gonna get ready to load it on the mat. All right, so here we go. We're gonna get ready to load this. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the red layer on top. Once again, got that shiny side down. And then we're gonna go ahead and get the pink layer here. Gonna get that, just kind of making sure it's nice and straight, just like that. All right, so now let's go ahead and hit continue and choose our material. Now here's another fun question until we get there. How many fingers should you come down on your t-shirt to press your design? All right, so what I'm gonna do for material here is I'm gonna choose everyday iron on, just like we did a while ago. And we are gonna go ahead and load this. Now I'm using the same time and temp, so I've got it at 320 for 30 seconds. Another tip is if you guys are new to using a Cricut Easy Press, one way to keep it awake is just hitting the plus button. Hit the minus, something like that, and it's gonna keep it awake. So if you do that every so often. But what I do like is if you forget to turn this guy off, it is definitely gonna turn itself off. All right, so we've got that flashing. We're gonna let this guy cut out. In the meantime, let's go ahead and prep our t-shirt. So we're gonna go ahead and pull out that moisture for about 5 seconds or so, just smoothing out the shirt and pulling out any sort of moisture. If you fail to do this, this is where whenever you go to wash the shirt or over time, you may notice that it starts to peel off of there. And that's because basically you started to apply adhesive to water. You had a little bit of water barrier in between that adhesive and the t-shirt. Next, we're gonna go ahead and take our lint roller here, and I'm just going to roll right down there, just smooth everything out. You can definitely do that before or after you decide to heat it up, but you definitely wanna kinda do that too, because you could get a little piece of lint stuck underneath. Once again, that can cause your HTV to fail over time. All right, so we are ready to go. We're gonna go ahead and hit the unload button, flip this guy upside down, and I'm gonna get this out of the way. All right, so we are gonna start off with our, I was gonna say our pink layer. They're both pretty much, well, we got a red and a pink. We're gonna start off with a pink layer, and we're just gonna go ahead and start to weed this guy out. So this is a knockout design, and this is one of those things that we all, when we first start making our first projects, we love to make our very own knockouts, which you definitely can do, but we also have ready to go knockouts for you. So if you guys are ever looking for those, definitely check them out. This is a really fun one. I think it's gonna be so cute. All right, and there we have it. That, so easy to weed. And there you guys have it. I'll show you guys that layer really quick. Hopefully you guys can kind of see that through there. We'll set that guy out of the way, and then we are going to weed this one. Now this one's not the knockout layer, so this one is gonna be a nice chunky design. So it's gonna be really, really easy to weed. So we're just gonna zoom through here, just like that, hence the word easy weed. And then I'm gonna go into all these small pieces and pop those out. Now, if you're ever struggling, just go ahead and add some heat here. You could even do it to your t-shirt, and then just lay it with the glossy side down, and then you would have this warmed up, and it just makes it so much easier to weed. If you ever notice that it's hard to weed your HTV, in the cold months, it's usually a little bit harder compared to the summertime. And that's because it's just cold. So you may notice that you struggle more to weed out your iron-on projects in the winter compared to the summer. All right, so there we have it. Looks great. And let's see, I think we actually have a couple more small pieces. And there we guys have it. Hopefully you guys can see that sparkle there. So cute. Love. All right, so what we are going to do is we're going to do the knockout layer first and then this. But this is what I like to do when I'm working with a multiple layer design is I'm going to get this piece, which is going to go first. Then we're going to line up our next one. I'm going to try to get it exactly where it's going to go. So I'm just going to kind of eyeball that there. All right, perfect. Looks good. The reason why is now I can take this design, so you really want to line these up perfect. And so I can actually fold this in half. So to find the center of your design, fold it in half, get a pinch going on there. And so now I can take this and measure down. So if you guessed around 3 to 4 fingers, you are correct. So if you guys are new to your Cricut projects, for an adult t-shirt, around 3 to 4 fingers, and sometimes it's even different. So you can even see this one's about a whole hand. It just depends on the design. So something that's single like this, you wouldn't want it all the way up here. Or a design like this, you may want it a little bit higher up because of the way the design hits. So all shirts are definitely different, but standard for a design like this, 3 to 4 fingers. So what we're gonna do is the center is where your neck tag is. We're just going to follow that little crease line down. So somewhere right about here looks absolutely perfect. And so now that I have that entire design laid down, I could go down, pull off our second layer, and now we're going to do that tack down. So remember that tack down is very important because this is where I'm talking about, we're going to stop that before I talk too much. Remember to slide down. You see how now it didn't bring that carrier sheet up? This is where you can get that shrinking. So if these pieces didn't line up, that's what's happened. So we're gonna go in here and carefully peel. So if you notice something like that one did not pop up with me, I'm just gonna give it a few more seconds because it is a tack down layer, or simply start to peel from the opposite direction. So you see when I peeled from the opposite direction, it was good to go. So just real nice and slow because these are not permanent yet because this is just a tack down layer. All right, now we're gonna go in here and we want to really make sure this guy is lined up. So if I have to pick it back up again and again, that is totally okay. So we're gonna get that there, make sure that one little piece is gonna go down. So now this time I'm gonna show you guys the parchment paper. So you guys can see I've got just a little piece right there. Instead of sticking all this plastic to be heated again over everything, since it's just that, I'm gonna go ahead and take our parchment paper and cover the design. And then we're gonna go ahead and do another. This time, same thing. I'm just gonna go ahead and just get like a 2 to 5 second tack down, preferably 2 seconds. And then I'm gonna go ahead and carefully peel. If anything's trying to come up with me and I can get it to hold down, I'm gonna go ahead and do so. So I don't have to go back and try to heat again, because preferably I could have just heated the entire design because it was the entire time, because this was our second layer. But I want to show you guys why I prefer to peel this off, especially when it comes to a t-shirt compared to a tote bag. All right, so now what we're gonna do, like I said, both layers were tacked down. We're gonna go carefully on top with that parchment paper. This time, I'm gonna do the entire 320 for 30 seconds. I'm giving it some nice pressure. The reason why I like to do this is it presses it so much better into the t-shirt, into the fabric, compared to whenever you have that plastic barrier in between. So you really wanna use both hands. You see me talking with one. You wanna have nice, even pressure. And like I said, this is gonna help that HTV really sink down into the t-shirt where you can't really feel it that much. And now, we are almost done 2 seconds. When it comes to the Cricut Easy Press, Cricut recommends that you flip the t-shirt over and press it again for another 15 seconds. I highly recommend you do that and you don't skip that step, because you're gonna help get the adhesive heated on the backside as well, further sinking the design into the t-shirt. If you had a bigger heat press like this, you definitely don't have to do that because of all that pressure. But as you can see, so cute. Let me flip it over and then we'll check it out. So we're gonna flip the t-shirt just like that. Our time is 30 seconds. So all we have to do is get it on here and hit go for 15 seconds. There you guys have it. It is so cute. And like I said, it's really helped. This is kind of hot at first. I'm gonna kind of let it cool down a little bit, but it has really helped sink that HTV into the fabric, making it a little bit more one with it, where it's not kind of sitting on top. So definitely try it. If you guys have not tried doing that final layer with the parchment paper instead of having that barrier. Another thing too is with that plastic, it can leave a crease mark on the other layers if it's not reaching all the way, and that will help smooth that stuff out as well. So that would be another fix for that. But definitely try it and then get that final press on the other side with the 15 seconds and let me know your guys' thoughts on that, of how it sinks it down into the fabric. There you guys have it. I know that light sometimes is really hard to see, so I'm hoping you guys can actually see this design. But there you guys have it. There is 3 different projects that you guys can make. Definitely check out our bundles. You seen one of those was $2. I believe that's where we made 2 of these designs from, if I'm correct. But you guys definitely check it out. So many different ones to choose from. We have them linked down below, as well as all the supplies that I'm using today. Once again, if you guys have found this helpful along the way, or you guys enjoyed the little quiz, let us know in the comments below so we can definitely help better make videos in the future. And if there's anything that you guys want to see, or any questions that you guys may have about your Cricuts or any other machines, definitely make sure you guys comment down below, and we definitely make videos based on those as well. And if you guys haven't already, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button as well as the notification bell so you guys do not miss any of our crafting tutorials. Bye for now.